Hello, hello! Welcome back to the Money Healing Podcast. And we are continuing on with March's theme, Money Misconceptions, but we are going to do it with a bit of a twist today. We are going to be talking about marketing misconceptions. And with me is my friend and mentor and client, among other things, Natalie Ross. Welcome, Natalie. Welcome to the Money Healing Podcast. Natalie and I actually recorded something in the past, but it never got published and then it got outdated. So this is long due, Nat. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, I'm so excited to hang.
You have been on this journey with me since day one when this podcast was called Beyond the Fear, remember?
Yeah.
And the day the first episode got published, we had a Zoom dance party.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome.
That was awesome. So Natalie's like my right-hand lady. And I have been her client for many years, and she really helped me unfreeze or like just kind of feel more regulated around marketing. I feel like the word marketing for me is the bane of my existence. It's my kryptonite. And perhaps if you are a spiritual entrepreneur as well, you would resonate with that. That as soon as you label a message or a newsletter or a podcast or an Instagram post as like, I'm marketing, it just goes to shit. But with Natalie, she helped me not reframe, because reframing is like such surface level mindset stuff. What you helped me with, Natalie, is really unfreeze my nervous system on a nervous system level, like move more into a ventral vagal regulation when it came to my messaging and my marketing. And as a result, my impact grew. And so many people have been, positively impacted by the work that I do here in CFA, in my one-on-one coaching. So, yeah, working with you has been monumental. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks. Hi. I love just what you do and the impact it has, and it's impacted me too, and we can get into that. Like, I love that just how our journey has been walking together, helping each other amplify and heal through those frictiony, hurty parts that just needed a little bit of help. And that's like just I believe in what you do so much. I'm so honored to be able to help you get your message out there and reach people and help people get the help that you can provide, because it's I'm all in.
So I'm curious now. Now I know that we want to talk about marketing misconceptions, but I know that it's very, very, very related to money wounds and money healing.
Oh, yeah.
And we started this like just before we hit record about your money healing experience. And just for context, Natalie and I's relationship revolved into a friendship, and also in her being coached by me in money healing. So we've got multiple, what's it called, connections and things going on from me to her back and forth, So tell us a little bit about your journey with money, if you want, and how all of that is related to the way we market ourselves as people who are soul led.
Yeah. And I just want to give a shout out too, because thinking about our journey, I'm thinking like, wow, we met in BAM.
Oh yeah,
Business Alchemist Mentorship with Kat Hosa Lee. And we're still all, just circulating the aliveness of what we're evolving into and sharing and growing. And hi, Kat, thank you for making BAM. Like, I feel like right here, this is just a reflection of what can happen beyond just money when someone puts their work out into the world, when someone takes that journey and is willing to face those really, I don't know, sticky, icky things
gross,
that come up.
painful,
right?
Monster under the bed.
right? And like
Yeah.
with money, it's like money is tied so much to survival, and so
Hmm.
is marketing, because marketing involves being seen and heard and being accepted or rejected, which also ties right in physiologically
Hmm.
in our unconscious automatic reactions to our body's sense of survival. And is it safe? Are we taking too big of a risk? Are we going to die? Are we going to be hurt?
Are we
Like,
going to be shunned by the
it's
tribe?
we're going to be
Like
shunned
going
and
back to
expelled and
evolutionary
die,
word. Yes,
right?
exactly.
Like our bodies could be like so dramatic in that way. I mean, they just, we need them to be. It's gotten us here. It's gotten our ancestors to survive long enough to give birth to our the next ancestors, and all the way up to us now. And
Hmm.
here we are, and we this is it. Like it's and now we get to have all this information and knowledge and put it to practice in ways that fit with our new world, like where we are in the world now, in modern context, to work with these dramatic nervous systems instead of
Yes.
just be tossed around by them,
Yeah.
so that we can have more connection that is nourishing at that soul level, but that also helps us, connect in with um, money, and like have the money that we need and the resources that we need, and actually end up boosting our survival. So in
Hmm.
our body's ability to perceive putting oneself out there, or making or spending or doing something different, or taking a stand for one's money, as actually boosting their survival, their chance of survival, because the body doesn't really care about thriving. The body's like, I just care
No,
about surviving. It's like, you
unfortunately, yeah.
survive,
Yeah.
you're in crap shape, but you survived, so great. Body's like super, super, super swole
Yeah.
us. And meanwhile, our brains are like, this sucks. So yeah, I
I
don't know.
want more.
Yeah.
I could do more. But so there's a lot of parallels
Yeah.
between when we feel stuck with money and when we feel stuck with marketing, regardless of what it is that we
Yeah.
do in our lives, whether we're entrepreneurs or we work in a regular 9 to 5. There's always the way that we express the gift that we bring, whether we are applying to a new job, asking for a raise, or actually literally marketing ourselves day in and day out through multiple channels,
Or sharing art, or trying
sharing
to make
art.
friends as an adult. You
Exactly.
know,
So, marketing, let's not limit the word marketing to content creation and dancing on TikTok. Let's
social media.
Yeah, or
Hmm.
social media. Let's expand that to how we present ourselves to the world, right? And
Yeah.
what do you generally see in, because you're a reflector in human design, so you see. I see, but you notice and you observe, and you're,
Noticing with Natalie.
yeah, I mean, that's your thing, right? Like as a
Hmm.
reflector and your
Yep.
personality as well. Like, what do you usually see? How does our nervous system contribute to how we build these relationships? Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, marketing, or the way that we, present ourselves to the world, whether it's to bring in more clients or make new friends, it's really about connection, right?
Yes.
So,
And so is money,
and so
I
is
think.
money. Exactly.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Okay.
Hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about what is happening in our nervous system when we feel like I'm at a party and I know I can talk to these people, but I just can't bring myself to talk to them. Or I'm on Instagram and I know my shit. I know what my business does. I know the impact I can create into the world, but I cannot bring myself to express it in a way that is authentic. I know I'm due for a raise, but I cannot just go and tell my boss what it is and why it is that it's about freaking time for a raise. Like, what is it in us that when we know what to do but we don't do it?
Oh, wow. It's a big question, and there can be a lot of answers. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I also just want to name quickly that, like, when I'm speaking to marketing as connection and money as connection, I'm speaking to the opportunity and possibilities within the systems that perpetuate injustice, within the systems that perpetuate privilege, and within the systems, like, these all exist, and we do have to work with them, and we have varying degrees of access to, or restriction from, or all these different things. And so I'm not coming at this saying, like, connection's going to magically solve the problems of late stage capitalism and you're going to, succeed in terms of late stage capitalist ideals. It's like, no, connection is the piece that late stage capitalism holds
Mhm.
away from us. It keeps us from having like true connection, not just
Yeah.
like that sense of warm fuzzy feeling, that sense of, like feeling belonging, feeling connected,
Mhm.
the opposite of loneliness.
Yeah.
And like that is this is what our current system withholds from us, but tells us that we have to buy something or earn something in order to have that, when actually the way that we have that requires us to have that capacity within our nervous systems to feel a sense of safety. And the system can make it very, 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 very difficult for people to feel a sense of safety in the first place. So does this make sense, Nadine?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. It actually reminds me of an interview that I watched on Gaia TV yesterday. It was a lady called Kayla Osterhoff. She's the founder of an app, or like this foundation that is called Her Biorhythms or Her Rhythms. And she basically just talks about like how our world is really built around, males, and how scientific research is, it's not nothing new, right? Scientific research has always been based around males and all that stuff, and how the female brain and the male brain functions very differently. So I don't want to bastardize what she beautifully and eloquently said, and I highly recommend that everyone check her out, especially if you have Gaia TV. Her interview with Regina Meredith is just so good. But what she said and reminded me of what you're saying now is that the world is built on that, the patriarchy, on men, right? And the chemical that makes the brain for a male body function is dopamine. So we're functioning in a dopamine world. But for females, the hormone that makes the female brain tick and feel good is actually oxytocin. So it's exactly what you're saying, is that we're in a dopamine induced world of like, go, 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 the next win, 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 win. Whereas as women in leadership, because we are in a leadership role when we're living our lives, and I'm not talking about leading others. When I talk about self leadership, it's more about us leading ourselves, really, and leading our internal parts, let's
Self
say.
trust. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we are more going to be what's the word, inspired, when it's not a dopamine hit but more of an oxytocin hit, which is that connection, that sense of intimacy that we can build with others. But yeah, I've really like watched what she beautifully said in the interview. Please check her out, but that's within the lines of what you're saying.
I love that. I was actually just reading about oxytocin and ventral vagal, what the nervous system this weekend, because
Hmm.
I was noticing that theme or
She
trend or
noticed.
well, and so I love that. I definitely want to check that out. And yeah, and like I'm someone who has a neurodivergent brain, and I my brain
Hmm.
is dopamine deficient, quote, we'll say deficient. It doesn't have
Yeah.
the this the I take medication to fill that gap of how much dopamine my brain needs in order to like focus and take effective action versus how much it
Hmm.
produces. And then that having that experience and navigating that in contrast with navigating healing complex trauma that I have, come, because I've spent most of my life in freeze or some sort of
Yeah.
ping pong, from freeze to highly activated to freeze.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so like this, having been on this journey of experiencing what can be different, just what can be different in my own body, in my own life, when I stray from what they told me I had to do, or I was told I had to achieve, or what I was told, and what how my nervous system was initially wired to believe that I had to act, or yeah, I guess act in order to survive, in order to
Hmm.
function, in order to be in the world. And so much of what I was told, and what so many of us are told, is that we have to like hide who we are, and we have to push, 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 and we
Push,
have
push,
to
push.
produce,
Yeah. And
produce,
be
produce.
the love and the light. Of course, when you go into the personal development world, you have to be
Just be
all
love and light.
positive, be love and light. And that is,
You're perfect.
yeah,
Pure. This
right.
purity
And
concept.
all of
Mm-hmm.
that, that is such shame inducing messages. And at the
Yeah.
moment, actually, I am creating a lesson, one of the final lessons for my program, Create Fulfilling Abundance, and it's on life purpose. And I had a client, and her and I became very good friends. Look at that trend. And she came to me with this whole notion of, Nadine, I am in my late 40s. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm behind in life. And that really helped me also like unravel how the notion of life purpose has also became like this, capitalist, right? It's such a
Achievement.
beautiful, yeah, achievement. It's such a beautiful notion of like we all have a life purpose, and it's really based on connection and taking care of ourselves and putting more like, to avoid a cliche, but love and light into the energy field. But somehow it got bastardized, and it became it's about something to monetize. And as spiritual entrepreneurs, we always feel like we're behind if we're not monetizing on our life purpose. My life purpose is
Yeah.
not a money coach. Your life purpose is not marketing mentor and freeze whisperer. Like, our life purpose as humans is beyond that. But when we link our life purpose with what we do, not who we be, that can also start creating these like hiccups in the way that we market ourselves, in the way that we create money, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we went on many different tangents here.
I
Welcome
know.
everyone to the world of Nadine and Natalie. That's exactly how our sessions go, but we wrap them up really well. So stay with us.
They
Stay with
get
us
us where
because
they get us somewhere.
we were gonna get somewhere with this. Like, we're just spreading all these nets. We're gonna get somewhere. So yeah. Where were we? Yeah, we're talking about
Well, yeah,
the
life
nervous system
purpose.
states and life
Mhm.
purpose and marketing. So yeah, we're just expanding the net now.
Oh, no, you back?
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying we're talking about nervous system states and life purpose?
Yes, and we're just expanding the net.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that speaks exactly to your question at where we kind of leapt off into this whole spiral was,
Hmm.
when someone's at a party and they want to approach someone, talk to them, or they're going to market themselves and put themselves out there, or ask for a raise, or all this. It's like, I think a lot of people are walking around with the whole weight and urgency, and desire for both survival at that
Hmm.
nervous system level and life purpose at that like heart and soul level, and they're putting
So,
it into every little, it's like so urgent, or
oh,
so, it just needs tending,
yeah.
and it's getting directed, so just all the weight's getting put onto each individual action or moment or opportunity, instead of it, like it just feels like it is. It feels like all of that weight is just right there in one action, one potential, one
Right.
chance. And that's heavy. That
So
is,
heavy. And no wonder we feel like shit when these things bomb. And
right?
sometimes they don't even bomb. We don't receive the
Yeah.
appreciation or the reaction that is directly proportional to the the output. The input is
Right.
disproportionate to the output. When we are
Mhm.
putting all this like energy into it, right? Like, we're laying, like in a post, we're laying out our sense of survival, we're laying out our sense of life purpose into a reel or a post or a podcast episode. There's so much attached to it. So what do we do, Natalie? What do we do? Because I'm like that. Help, help. Oh, I used to be. I'm actually a little bit better, but
I was gonna say, I see. So I want to name one other thing too. I think part of it is people also just haven't cultivated the awareness of indicators of what to notice that something has been a success. And I think that pairs exactly with what you're saying of like they're expecting some like explosion party versus
mhm.
like one person reaches out and that's a huge success actually. And I think
Yeah.
it's like there's these are things that are these expectations and these reactions are unconscious and they're automatic. They're things that are wired in us in a way that the same way that our hearts just beat and our blood just flows and we digest our food, or it's like these are things that are happening. These reactions are also part of that. But what's cool is just kind of like you can exercise and change your resting heart rate. You can also exercise your nervous system and help
Mhm.
it be more flexible, be more resilient, have more tone so that it's actually when something happens it wasn't how you expected it to happen, the unconscious automatic reaction isn't as extreme, or you're able to come back from to a more settled place more quickly or easily from that
Yeah.
reaction instead of getting stuck in it and for days or weeks or years.
Oh my
Like,
God,
yeah.
weeks. Yes, of course. Like
Mhm,
sometimes things would used to get me stuck for weeks, like I
mhm.
would I would
Me
listen to
too.
these
Months.
people that are like, just post every day for 30 days. And I'll be like, cool, I'll
Yeah,
challenge
fuck you.
myself. And then by day two, I would have burnt my nervous system. I would have
Right?
burnt out my nervous system instead of like posting once a week like I used to in a way that feels very like congruent with my pace, with my message. I would push and then end up in bed for 3 weeks because
Yeah,
I just feel like the whole world is crumbling around me. And
right.
it's not our fault that we are hanging so much energy or so much expectation. It's just that I feel like the coaching world, now we're now we're talking about the coaching world. The coaching
Yes.
world has really changed over the past 4 years. It's gone from like, hey, I love you and I really want to show you how this can help you, to look at me, I've got it all sorted and you got to pay me all that money so that I can, like, so you can get to where I am. And that in itself is basically, to me, the antithesis of the coaching world, because I feel like coaching, like just having that, such a, having coaches and having this as like a big thing happening right now is really such a beautiful way for us to start deprogramming and unlearning how to override our intuition in school,
Yeah.
right? We're taught to override our intuition at home, in school,
And our
and
nervous
then
system reactions, intuition and
exactly,
nervous system.
yeah, our
Mhm,
bodily functions, our bodily sensations,
mhm.
our intuition,
Yeah.
our nervous system. We were taught to like just overlook all this, and we were made wrong for wanting the opposite of the status quo, okay? And with the rise of coaching, I feel like we are deprogramming the world in like, stop listening to things that are outside of you and start listening more and more to yourself. And I always
Yeah.
tell people,
At least include what's
include
happening inside of
I love
you.
that, at least include it. Yeah, I love
Mhm.
that. I really feel like now that we are all about, this is my method, this is this and this is that. I mean, I do have the holistic money healing method and I fucking love it,
Right.
but I'm
Right.
talking about like, this is the end all of be all kind of marketing.
Silver bullet. Right.
Yeah, right.
Quick
And
fix.
the quick fix. And I have, working with you and working with marketing agencies and working with all that, I never approach it as this is going to save me. I just feel like this is just going to help me. This is going to help me get
Mhm.
from A to B. And my B is no longer, I'm just going to go viral and like smash the world with my awesomeness. It's more
Right.
like, I'm just going to be more comfortable talking about what I do, because what I do is solid. And sometimes I don't express it very well because I'm a coach, not a marketer. They're two very different hats. Very different hats. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm in a therapy session with you right now. I always am on this podcast. But yeah, what are your thoughts about all this and how the
Mhm.
coaching and mentoring world is becoming a little bit, unfortunately, toxic? And it hurts me to see that. It really
Oh,
does. Everybody's this expert now.
I don't think it is just becoming it, it's just coming to the surface. I think it has been for a
Ah,
long time. I
okay.
mean, this is one of my I mean, look at how many exposés there are on, streaming services now of coaches and con artists and all these people who are selling the dream or selling these promises. They're actually just leading people like into what's it called? That sand where you sink.
What are you talking about?
You walk on the sand and you sink in it.
Ah, quicksand.
Quicksand. Thank you. I was
Uh-huh.
like, I know it's something sand. I'm a soil scientist. I should know. Okay,
Oh, yeah,
so
right.
right, I know. So like they're just leading people. They're just like taking their money, feeding them a dream, but giving them shit and not actually helping them get where they're promising they can get them to. And they're finally
Mm,
getting exposed. And there's like Reddit. There's whole entire Reddit subs. There's whole entire podcasts. There's whole entire specials. Like there's the people, the stories they are being told, they are being exposed. And, I think if anyone ever wants to hire a coach, I recommend searching their name and Reddit or their name and um, scam just to see, because there are people who are so good at selling that they make me wonder if I need to take their stuff. And when I look into it, I'm like, oh my God. And I've gone down rabbit holes.
there's this person online that is suddenly now talking about money, and they are such a compelling marketer that I was like, maybe I need money coaching. I'm like, what? What? Not that I'm
Right.
perfect with money. It's just that they were kind of promoting things that are pretty basic for me, right?
Mhm.
And they were so compelling in their messaging that I'm like, oh shit. Of
Mhm.
course, I caught myself and I had a really big laugh. But yeah, some marketing messages are pretty compelling out there and it's scary. I honestly prefer working with people that don't have large followings because you just get the more intimate experience, right? I mean, I'm not going to generalize. There are some people out there that have large Instagram or podcast followings that are still very genuine and intimate and authentic and all
Mhm.
that stuff.
Sure. Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it is a little bit sad to see how this is
Yeah.
being exploited.
For sure. And I think that's where it's not like if you're a good marketer, that doesn't mean that you're conning
True.
someone.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
true.
this is where I think that speaks to at least including one's intuition and nervous system in the
Hmm.
conversation. Because, going out and searching for a coach and then having, reading their marketing materials and being like, wow, this is exciting. But part of you is like, is this real? Allow that part of you to just talk and
Hmm.
speak,
Hmm.
but you can keep progressing, have a connection call and keep going. Because there's the thing is like that voice, it could just be the voice of fear that's like, oh shit, if we touch this stuff, it's gonna hurt too much.
Hmm.
Or it could be the voice of this shit's a fucking scam, don't go forward. And so just you get to listen to it and investigate and go at a pace at which, you know, you can handle you can handle what's coming up, and you
Yeah.
can until you get to a point where you can at least trust your decision enough. Like when I hire someone, it's a little scary. I'm like giving over a lot of money to
Hmm.
get help with something very vulnerable that
Yeah, I
I've
know.
probably tried getting help with before and gotten a little bit of help and da 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 da. But it's like this is the nature of coaching too, is that we're helping people with things that are hurting. And so there's a little bit here of in marketing, I think, just telling the truth. And as a marketer, as a business owner, I like to just tell the truth. And I
Yeah.
like to, and that sometimes scares people away because they're like, oh my God, I want the quick fix. I want the silver bullet. And I'm
Oh
like, there's no
gosh.
quick fix or
No.
silver bullet. And
No.
then those are not my people who want that. And I know
Yeah.
that. I don't want to work with people who want the silver bullet or the quick fix. I want to work with people who know that this isn't about just one single destination and it's all done. It's about an integrative journey that's we can start here and now, and it's never going to end. There's just little nice pit stops and milestones and ups and downs, and so
Yeah,
much
it's
of
a
it is about being
journey.
able to ride the waves. And I think
Hmm.
that's like we're always, it's like surfing. I don't surf, but I live in a surf town, and like surfers are out there and they're all just waiting to catch a wave. They have to know how to swim, they have to know how to spot the right wave, they have to know how to um, paddle enough to get on the wave, they have to know how to stand on the board, they have to know how to gracefully get out of the wave when it's done. And this is like, they know how to ride the waves. Now think about, this is what's happening in our nervous systems. We have these waves of excitement, or these waves of fear, or these waves,
Hmm.
and sometimes they can be so it's like a lot of energy builds and we feel it, and that can feel like anxiety, or it can feel like ecstasy. And then it
Yeah.
can tip over, it can be too much for the system, for the nervous system, and it can tip over and to shut down because the body's like, this is not safe, must protect survival, and
Hmm.
plummet. And that's like getting tossed in the waves, and you're underwater, you feel like you might drown. So
Yeah.
like there's like learning how, it's like learning how to surf, but learning how to surf the waves of life and not just get
And at your
tumbled in
own
them.
pace. Yeah.
Yeah, at your own pace. Learn how to choose the right size of waves. There's a wave down for me called Mavericks, which is a huge wave that people are like pulled, they're brought in to start the wave. They like are dragged by sea-doos, you know, the little like I don't know, little individual motorized
Uh-huh.
water sport boat things. And like, so like the surfers getting like pulled in by them because the wave is so big,
Oof.
it's like 40, 50 feet, it's like huge. You can die on that wave, you could literally, people
Oh
literally
my
die on
God,
that
that's
wave. But also
massive.
people come from around the world to surf that wave. It's a huge wave, so a beginner is not going to jump onto that wave. And if you're thinking and you're like looking at like this wave and you're seeing, you're like, I want to learn how to surf, I'm going to surf Mavericks first. That's like, we
Oh,
learning how to
yes.
accurately discern where, what's actually the next step and what do I have the capacity for, so that I can ride the wave. And each wave that a person rides actually expands it, like tone. That's that nervous system toning. Like when you
Yes.
ride the wave and you go in the crest, and then you can come back down into the settling, and you can do that without without shooting off into space and getting so high you can't come back, or getting so low you're drowning. Then
Hmm.
okay, can we ride the waves? We don't want to get rid of the waves. We're not going to catch every wave. We're going to get tumbled around sometimes. It's going to be unpredictable. We don't know when the waves are going to come or how big they're going to be. But there are certain things. I can go to a certain spot. I can go to this spot or that spot because I know down here from the end of the road, those waves are very small. If I wanted to learn how to surf, I could go down there instead of going
Yeah.
up to Mavericks and dying. It's on my first surf trip. So does
Burning
this
out.
track too with like nervous systems and surfing? I hope I'm making sense here because I've never really talked about it like that.
It's kind of like bicep curls, right? So if I've got like, I want to get stronger arms, I'm not going to go and, carry 100 pounds all of a sudden. I'm going to start with 1 pound or 2 pounds, right? Here's
Just a few
where
reps,
that,
not like
just a
10
few
sets of
reps, right?
15.
Right? So that you don't burn yourself out. You don't like injure yourself. That is exactly what happens on a nervous system level when we are wanting way more than what we have. So you mentioned beginner, but what I want to kind of go back and say, you said in the beginner, you got to, it's not just being a beginner, it's also being someone who has trauma around the thing. If you have
Mhm.
trauma around being seen, going from 1,000 follower Facebook or Instagram account to all of a sudden 50,000, that is going to re-trigger your trauma
That's
big time.
Mavericks.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I know that. I've been there. I've been
If,
on the scene by a lot of people and been
yeah,
overwhelmed and shut down.
overwhelmed and shut down. When you have scarcity wounds and you feel like perhaps these wounds are going to go away once you start feeling more abundant financially, unfortunately, and I am the first person to say that actually doesn't work. It burns you out. When your nervous system has the capacity for only $5,000, let's say, in savings, and all of a sudden you have this like massive amount of clients, and you have 50,000 accounts, $50,000 in your savings, and you haven't calibrated, you haven't created that toning in your nervous system to receive that. That is also, again, when you burn out, which can look like spending it all, losing it all, right? So when I start working with marketing people, so Natalie's not the only marketing person. I'm a marketing hoe. I go around, right? The first thing I want to say is that there's a lot of people out there, and that's their method. I'm not poo-pooing at anyone that have you on a discovery call, and then as soon as you say yes, or I would think about it, or you show some indication of yes, they're like, okay, on the call, sign the contract and pay. And this is their style. There's nothing wrong with that. However, what I highly recommend is, if you feel like your body is like a full 98% yes, and they're like, here's the contract, read it, and they're still on Zoom, for example, and you're expected to pay, I would say take a potty break, or just tell them, I need to go and breathe for a few minutes. You can wait, or we can reconnect in an hour if they have this like need to, for some reason, sign you up right now. So what I always do is that I always take time, right? I always take time to read, even if they want to stay on the Zoom, that's their problem. And I take time away and I recalibrate. I go and sink my feet in the soil. Yes, I know how somebody's waiting for me on Zoom, but that's their choice. That's the way they want to function. They're going to work with me. I'm going to take things slow, right?
Right? You
They
do
want to do
you.
that. I'm going to do me too.
Hmm.
So, and one time I signed up with a marketing agency and I wasn't that sure, but I told them I needed 5 hours. So I took my 5 hours. I didn't make them wait. We reconnected 5 hours later, right? Like, just wait on Zoom for 5 hours if you're that desperate. No, I'm kidding. So, that is one thing that I really want to say, that sometimes people put the pressure. Maybe they're well intended. I'm not poo
Yeah.
pooing them. It's just that you need to go at your own pace. The second thing is, when people ask me, for example, what are the like guaranteed results for doing CFA? And I cannot guarantee results, because first it depends on where the person is starting. Where are they starting financially?
Hmm.
Where are they starting with their
Hmm.
nervous system? How long have they been working on their trauma? Sometimes people come to me and money is the last Everest for them, right? And that's when we get very quick results. Right. So that's when I get a client that goes from 40, 50, 60, 70K in debt to no debt at all within 6 months. It happens, but I can't guarantee that result, because these particular clients have either been working with other people, or working on themselves, or working with me on my podcast without me directly being there. So they've got that foundation, right? So they just needed that guidance and the things that I offer in CFA, and that's it. That's all they needed. And sometimes people end up just finding a job, or sometimes what it looks like is that the amazing result they have from working with me is that they quit a toxic environment. That doesn't mean they made more money. It just means that now they have a fertile ground to build or plant a garden that feels aligned and is sustainable. So when it comes to like results with marketing or with money, you really have to ask yourself, where are you at? And no shaming, right? We're always ahead in one thing and behind in another. Like, I'm behind with marketing, and that's okay. I used to shame myself, but now I'm like, that's where I'm at. That's it. It's okay. It's all right. So these are the important questions that you have to ask yourself before you ask the practitioner, what results are they going to guarantee for you, because it's a collaboration. And it's not just you and the practitioner. It's you, the practitioner, and your nervous system, because that's the
Yes.
actual pace setter.
Yes. The nervous system is in charge. It is
Yes.
the bottleneck through which everything else will
Yes.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, one of them. I mean, I think there's so many variables and things, but it is one of the important ones. And I think that's also a great being misconception March. Let's speak to
Mhm.
this misconception of, and I teach that like marketing is about, you know, I like to help people get oriented to like who are they speaking to. Like
Mhm.
there are traditional marketing things, but the approach to them and the context and assumptions around them, I come from a different angle than the mainstream. So like, who are you speaking to? What problems are they having? What kind of outcomes can you help them reach? And what's the process for helping them get there? And I think people hear all this, and I break it down into a totally different, uh, like outcomes. Do not, I like tangible, I like specific, but I don't like it having to be impossible. And I think that so much of what we do in these unknown zones of if someone hires me for help or someone hires Nadine, we don't know. It's impossible to know where they're going to get in 6 weeks or 6 months or what's going to happen in between now and then. I have no idea. And I'm very honest with people about that. And I think the outcome isn't necessarily like, oh, here's this thing that I'm promising and guaranteeing you're going to reach or experience or have. It's I'm going to it's what are we going to orient our focus towards? What is that, so that our intentions, our actions, our measuring, our benchmarks, or whatever, our progress, we are focused in this direction. And this is what you are calling in, what you are creating, what you are, you know, what it is that calls to you and got you to take action to actually like do something about whatever you were experiencing. And
Yeah.
I don't know what is going to actually happen, but I know that we can orient in this direction. And I liked, like, when someone comes on a connection call with me, which you can sign up for at natalie.net. I love that. It's fun. It's fun. It's no pressure. And I literally just ask people, I'm like, what do you think I can help you with? And then I
Mhm.
reflect back to them. I'm like, I'm like, oh, so I hear you saying you think I can help you with this and this and this. And they're like, yeah or no. And they clarify. And then I'm like, well, I can't help you with this, but I think maybe someone such as blah, 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 like this type of coaching or this type of person or this type of support might help you with that thing. But here's this thing that I can help you with. And here's what I see. I'm, skilled enough now that I can talk to someone. I can track where their nervous system's at,
Yeah.
and I can listen to what they're saying, and I can compute in my head um an idea about what we can orient our focus towards that's aligned with what they're saying, and what how many waves of activation it might take us to create noticeable transformation or results or shifts
Mhm.
with that, and how long I think that might take. And then I can put together a proposal and say, this is what I propose. This is, we'll orient our focus towards this. I think, this is how many times we'll meet, and this is what we'll be doing in that time. And so we do have a tangible target that is something that we can measure. Yes or no, did this happen?
Yeah.
But it's not about just, we know that it's not about just making that happen. It's like the progress towards that and being oriented towards that in a way that honors one's pace, honors one's nervous system, honors one's values, honors one's capacity, honors what's actually happening in one's life, instead of it's just like we have to achieve these external check boxes.
Right.
Is that,
Yeah.
yeah, this is something
Absolutely.
that's been really rolling around in my head lately too, and I've been wanting to address
Let's
the
address it
outcome
because,
misconception.
yeah, the outcome misconception. So, what is the outcome? You come and work with me, you want $1 million, but you're really scared with money. I
But
come and
why
work
do
with
you want $1 million? Yeah.
Well, let's simplify. I come and work with Natalie on my marketing because I want I don't know, I want 20,000 followers, right? Okay,
Well, you
cool.
did come and work
But
with me because you wanted to create a podcast,
yeah, well,
and
here
you
you
were
go. We created a
experiencing
podcast.
freeze. Yeah, and you were experiencing freeze. And
Yeah.
I don't know when your freeze is going to melt, but I know that we can put some gentle heat
Your
on it and
freeze will
help it.
melt on the 17th of February at 12
Okay,
p.m.
if I can ever do that, then I will be out there in the streets shouting about it.
But
And
hang
it
on,
has
hang
to
on.
be
Like
real.
I wanna go
Yeah.
back to what you
Okay.
said
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Go
very
back.
important.
Hmm.
So I come and work, I come and work with Natalie on marketing because I want 20,000 more listeners on my podcast or followers, whatever. You come and work with me because you want X amount of money in your bank account. However, I come to you wanting that, but I'm scared. I'm scared of marketing. You come to me and you want all that money, but you're scared of money. Wouldn't it be logically, come on, everyone, wouldn't it be such an amazing result to work with someone, and after you're working with them, you are no longer scared of the very thing that you wanted because you are smart. You are so freaking smart. I'm not saying to Natalie, I'm saying every person that is listening to this podcast is intelligent and smart and talented. This is not what we have in questioning. What is happening is that when we are smart, talented, efficient, capable, and all these amazing things, but we are scared of the very thing that we want, that is an indication of a nervous system freeze. I don't think that you don't know how to follow a budget. I don't think that you don't know
Exactly.
how to pay off debt. It's all out there. You know, right? And I have a lot of finance major or finance professionals that come to me for this purpose. So it's not a matter of education, or it's not a matter of how clever you are. It's a matter of you're scared of the thing that you want. So if the result is you're no longer scared of it, oh my God, you can create wonders after that.
Yes, right. And it doesn't even have to be I'm completely not scared of it. It just has to be
Yeah.
I can surf these waves a little more instead like going back to the surfing, and you spoke to people might be coming in with trauma and all this stuff that like okay, the beginner. The beginner. Oh no, are you frozen?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's fine. We
Okay.
can keep going. I mean,
Okay,
yeah, I
okay.
can hear you, but it
Let's see.
looked
I'm
like
going to
it was
restart
frozen.
my response to that if that's okay. Then what you were saying
Okay,
cuz
that's
I
fine.
kind of lost
Yeah,
my track.
yeah.
Um Right, because this fear, it might not even be. Oh, the point isn't even to get the fear to never happen again. It's
Completely
like
happen. Like, yeah, no, we're not
right,
eradicating the
fear's gonna
fear.
happen. Yeah, you can't stop the waves in the ocean. Try that. Have fun. See you later. Like we can't stop the waves of activation of fear or excitement or whatever the overwhelm. We can't stop them, but we can learn how to read them, predict them a little bit better, prepare for them, ride them, and recover after them.
Whoa, whoa, wait 1 second. Know what it feels like in your body when you're actually scared of them, and how to
Right.
work with these
Right.
inner parts that are scared, how to reparent them so that you are leading yourself with that energy of self leadership as opposed to parts leadership, you know?
Right. It's more integrated. They're getting on the
More
same
integrated.
team. The
Yeah.
mind and body get on the same team. The nervous system gets on the same team as the cognitive focus and conscious awareness of the one's desires. The inner
Yeah.
child parts, the different archetypes, they get on the same team, and that takes all that energy they were using to be in opposition and brings it together and creates
Mhm.
that like
Together in
oh
one direction.
yes, and that's also where what people talk about like be love and light, like that is a natural byproduct of being able to. It's not like, oh, we have to just stay within
Yes.
this
Oh
window
my
of love
God.
and light. It's like all that energy that comes forth in that is coming forth because that's the same energy that was being used to protect and defend one's survival against a perceived threat that wasn't actually there. And it's now switched.
Hmm.
Now the body, the archetypes, they know, they're like, wait, our survival's not at stake, it's not at risk. Wait, we can create something. Wait, it's actually going to feed our survival. Let's go. And that gets channeled in to feeling energized, feeling courageous despite the risk, feeling
Yeah.
inspired, motivated, and all of these different things that then help one build momentum and actually create the thing that's calling to them.
Hmm. So that reminds me of a post that I put out there a long time ago. And it said, I'm going to read it. It said, Raising our frequency, being the love and light and all that stuff, it does not mean that we are in a state of positivity and high vibes only. Raising our frequency means expanding our emotional maturity to become spacious, gracious, and vast enough to embrace the duality of our world and the multiplicity that lies within us.
Mm.
So when we are putting out that love and light energy into the world, but we are gaslighting ourselves or we're trying to pretend that we don't have any pain, that is not actually authentic. When we start expanding ourselves, and that is through the nervous system expansion that we've been going on and on about all this freaking episode, through nervous system expansion, we are able to guide ourselves and hold the multiplicity that is within all of us and the duality that's in the world in a way that is so expansive. And that the byproduct of that is putting out the love and light into the energetic field. But then the byproduct of that is that we're so like in yummy alignment of what I call the fuck yeah life, that the natural byproduct of all of this is that people will gravitate towards you, aka marketing. And if you're selling something, you will also make money, aka money healing, right? So that is just like the expansion of our nervous system and the healing of what happened to us in the past is actually right. Like if you're hungry and you don't have money right now to put food on the table, this is not for you. This is not, you don't have, I'm not going to say you have money trauma and you need to do like 6 months of healing so that you can put money on the table. You kind of have an emergency and you need to go and do something about that, right? This is not what I'm
And it's
talking about
probably
here.
not
But it's
totally
one
your
and the
fault
same.
because we
It
live in
could
a
be
fucked
one
up
led to the
system.
other, right? Sometimes our money trauma
So,
really stops us
yeah.
from making money, right? And that means we need to get into debt. That means we might be in dire situations. But being in these dire situations, the first thing you need to do is get help in some way, get a job, get assistance. I don't know what to do. I'm new to this country, but in general, there are ways to get help in that. And generally, when I find myself in a pickle, I get a job. And I guess that's what I would say. I know that's not accessible to everyone, but in what I'm trying to say here is that raising your vibration is not about gaslighting yourself. Raising your vibration is not about pretending that you're in a good financial situation when you're not. It's really about being authentic and true to yourself. Now I pass on the baton to you, or the mic to you, and your thoughts on that. Maybe you want to expand on
Wow,
certain
there's like
things
just so
and
much I
maybe
want to
talking
say.
about,
Well, yeah. Oh wait, it kind of
yeah,
froze.
go ahead.
What'd you say?
Oh, it's yeah. I'm just saying, yeah. Go ahead. I'd like to see what you have to expand on this.
Yeah, yeah. First, I want to say something because I think this is um there's two things
Hmm.
because yeah, it's true. Money is important for survival in our
Yeah.
society. Like we do need it for survival. It's not like, oh, you know. And connection is important for our survival. We get
Mm.
connection, we get money through connections. We get
Yeah.
money through being connected to an employer or connected to clients
Hmm.
or connected to a network. Like everything comes through
Our
connection,
family. Yeah.
right? And so bringing together these awarenesses of like, okay, there's this unconscious and automatic drive for survival, and that is wrapped up with, all kinds of feelings around money and all kinds of
Hmm.
feelings around being seen, being heard, being valued, receiving, whether it's attention or money, giving, um, all these things. Well, what's cool about the fact that they are so tied into survival is that when we are working at that with an awareness of
Hmm.
that physiological level of the nervous system and of that unconscious, no matter what method, no matter if you're doing it through archetype work or somatic experiencing or some sort of uh, body based movement thing. I don't know. Like, there's so many ways in. It's not like there's only one way to do this. It's a concept to start noticing and becoming familiar with and seeing how it speaks to you, how it shows up to you in your world, what's calling to you to interface to the way in. But there, at the no matter what your way in is, no matter how one starts working with their nervous system or working with this unconscious automatic response system. When that system starts to notice and realize that actually survival is better served by um, moving in the direction that one desires and away from what it feared, like instead
Mhm.
of fearing it, and it's like, wait, actually maybe it's okay to move in that direction, maybe that
Mhm.
supports survival. Well, then that can create a positive feedback loop of,
Mhm.
okay, even one tiny, 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 tiny little shift. It doesn't have to be this go to Mavericks, the big wave, and do it all in one go. It's like one tiny little shift of moving of one's nervous system, realizing that maybe its survival is not at stake if it receives money or is seen or what, because my trauma, I'll see, my money
Mhm.
trauma was my body was like, if I receive money, I'm going to die, which is
Mhm.
obviously
Mhm.
logically wrong.
It's not just you.
Yeah,
That's pretty common for the
pretty
people that come
common.
and see me. Yeah.
Yeah. And so moving, like, my journey has been little waves of that. It is not all in one big, it has been years of that through
Mhm.
trial and error and finding different modalities and having different access to resources and being brave enough to actually use my resources to access those resources and take
Mhm.
that risk, which feels so scary, like little in increments that I could handle enough. And that has created a positive feedback loop where, okay, now being able to make it through one little wave of facing that threat to my survival and realizing I'm still here and I actually survived and it wasn't actually a threat, that expands one's capacity, one's nervous system's ability, one's nervous system's understanding at that unconscious level to be more open to moving in that direction again and to have the ability to be with that charge, to be with that activation again, and maybe even just a little bit more, and
Mhm.
maybe even just a little bit more. And that builds, and it's micro, but
Micro.
that builds
Yeah.
and builds and builds. And I think that's in direct opposition to our instant gratification society.
Yeah.
And right. And I think that in itself can be a feedback loop that's scary of like, it's not happening fast enough. Oh no,
Yeah.
because that's an expectation. So I think even just, I don't know. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I just needed to say this of like these little waves, and that
They
creates the
matter.
feedback loop. They
Yes,
matter,
they matter more
and
than you
they
think.
exactly, they are building and growing, and you can think of it as like the seed underground that hasn't sprouted yet, but you still water and tend to it because you trust that
Mhm.
it's going to sprout because you planted it in the place where it's going to get the right amount of sun at the right time of year, and you know if maybe if I just keep watering it, it might just sprout, but you don't know when. And that's like there's so much mystery and out of our control, and I think just having shifting these expectations, I think,
Mhm. Yeah, it's
to
shifting
be
the
able to
expectations. I
notice,
like that. Yeah.
right, like what actually is success in this process. And it looks very different from what we're told success looks like, but it is the actual path to being in the state of nourished
In a
satisfaction and
sustainable way
purpose.
without like
Yes.
jerking your nervous system around and then burning yourself
Right.
out and
Right.
then going into self-sabotage. Um,
Right.
I've got a very, very wise client currently in CFA. I mean, when I say wise, like I am, oh my God, I want all my
Cool.
clients to be like her. She said, I am likening or I'm thinking about my trauma healing journey like watching an ice cube melt on a kitchen counter. It's that slow.
Awesome.
I love that. You
But
know,
it
it's such a,
melts.
it melts, but it's so slow. But she's so aware of how slow it's going. And, you know, as much as parts of her are like, come on, she just knows that this is the process. And just her having that visual for herself is, I've noticed ever since she shared that visual with me, it's been really accelerating in a
Yeah.
sustainable way her progress in healing her trauma. especially
Yeah.
when we're trying to heal that freeze response in the nervous system. Because again, it's not a matter of how intelligent you are, it's a matter
No.
of being frozen in your nervous system. So that's
Hmm.
why it takes time, y'all. So I kind of want to conclude on a
Well, I want to
message.
finish my. Can I finish my feedback loop?
Oh,
Because I
you
got a
did.
little
Oh, I'm so
distracted.
sorry.
No, no,
Go,
no,
go.
no, no.
Oh, we're just
Okay.
this all over the place. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
Go.
this is how we roll. Okay.
Yeah.
So that little wave, I think I got really hung up on like how
How
small,
small it is and
how
how
big such a
unglamorous.
small thing.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I got hung up on that and totally forgot where I was going.
She's like,
Um,
whoop.
yeah, but you reminded me there. And so in that one little small expansion, one little small shift of the nervous system noticing, wait, maybe I'm okay. Maybe it's okay to think about connecting with someone. Like not even
Hmm.
connect with them, but even just think about the possibility of maybe possibly one day being willing to connect with someone, right? Like that's a shift. And that can build and grow, like building and growing one's capacity for connection. Okay, one is going to get to a place where they are actually engaging in connection, and not just connection of like I put out a social media post, but connection with the world, with
Hmm.
themselves, with the world. Like this is such an integrative, personally universal experience. It doesn't just impact one's business and marketing. It's going to impact the way one runs one's life, because it's going
Yeah.
to grow that innate capacity, awareness of, and safety around being in connection and taking the risk of connecting and being seen and heard and accepted or rejected.
Hmm.
And that translates into being able to actually live in a world where you don't even know why, but you feel compelled to just connect with someone, and you connect with them and might be a little exciting, a little nervous, and you don't even know why. There's no expectations, but then you get talking and it turns out that they have this question that they've been wondering that you could help them with, and they're like,
Hmm.
wow, how did, like, or they have a neighbor, or actually you just made a new friend, and just having a new friend is so enlivening that you feel more courageous about connecting with strangers in your business. So this all creates
Yes.
all
It's
these
all
feedback
in each
loops,
other. Yep.
right? And then when we
Hmm.
have this, we can build these networks of connection and community, whether they're with our friends and family or our coworkers or our clients or all the above or other, whatever. It's like building, we have this greater capacity to be connected. And through that, we have greater, we've amplified the ways that resources can flow to and from us in a
Yeah.
way that it's not even just about, like, it enhances one's survival. Like I know, because of the amount of trauma healing I've done and connection I've cultivated with people around the world, I will always have somewhere to live. I can call up
Yeah.
any number of people and be like, I if something happens and I lost everything, I could be like, can I come stay with you? And they'd be like, yes. And
You can come
I
stay
have,
with me
thank you, Nadine.
anytime.
You come stay with me, right? And like this is what, as humans, what we seek is we want this knowing that we are held not just by our pillars of individuality, but by
Yes.
a web, by a network of connection of people that actually care and are there, and we can
Hmm.
care for them and be there for them. And
That's
this is
safety.
so much more. And this is like, this is the energy of marketing that I'm
Yes.
coming at.
Oh,
This is like, this
Natalie,
is
that's
the energy
amazing.
that,
I
you
love
know,
that. It
it's
kind
not
of
like a, we have to reach this or achieve this, but this is like what is always tending and growing through the cycles and seasons, like growing a beautiful garden. It never ends, but it goes through these seasons and expands. And then I could just go on and on and on, because this is how has impacted my life. I used to be so scared to talk to people. And now
oh,
I can walk down the street and be like, hey, I like your car, to say it to someone that I've never met. And they're like, yeah, thanks. It's an 83 Beamer. And I'm like, cool. How'd you get it? And then they're like, my name's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm blah, blah, blah. And now I know that person and I can wave and say hi. And it's like, it's just different. It's like we are living in a world where there's a loneliness epidemic,
yeah.
and people, this is literally at a physiological level causing harm and sickness in people's bodies.
Yeah.
And we think that the solution is to achieve and consume, and it's not. And this
It's
is
not.
parallel. People are also seeking this through money, but the money can actually also create this positive feedback loop
Yes.
where, okay, now that I have more survival capacity for connection and survival, and I have more money coming in, I feel more resilient on my own, but also for my community. And I know that I'm serving my community and helping my
Not
community.
perpetuating
Like,
trauma.
right? There's like, so it's
Not
like it
spreading
feeds
it.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's been my healing journey with Nadine,
Mm.
because I have this ability to connect with people, and I grew an online business, a community that was, bringing in 6 figures selling a
Yeah.
membership, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I did not pay
Earth speak.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was cultivating all this connection, but I would not pay myself because my money trauma said if it felt like I would die if I got paid. It felt like I would be giving up everything I cared about and giving up everything that actually matters to me and become this miserable, suffering person if I got paid. And that was like, I would rather work for free and not have a home than, and to help these people and be in connection and do what I love doing than make money. And now I've done tons of trauma healing work with somatic experiencing, with my therapist, with coaches, with Bam, with Kat, with Nadine, in doing work with my inner archetypes. Oh my goddess, it is like I'm at a point now where I can say I want to make money. And I feel it in my whole
In
body
a good
because my
way.
body knows. Yes, it's not from like I need to make money. It's like I want to, because by this is feeding this positive feedback loop of my ulterior motives, which are to help people experience aliveness in the world
Yeah.
despite the systems we live in. And I'm like, I know it's not because I am like, yeah, it's like I have this different relationship now where money is an ally. It is like fertilizer for the garden that I'm growing. And it's not bad or scary. It
Mm-hmm.
is I'm receiving money because I'm helping people compost the shit in their minds and bodies and turn it into fertile soil that they can grow what they want to grow in. And this is what we're doing. And they're
Paint
giving me money to
purpose.
help them with that. And I'm receiving that money and helping them with, and like I'm able to now help myself be, tended to myself so that I can
Yeah.
offer that to people. And so we can have that ripple effect. So we can do this in a different way than we were told we have to, that that doesn't actually work. So we don't have to just keep achieving and consuming and not getting what it is that we really actually want. I feel like in love with money, not like Scrooge, who's like his coins, but like what a beautiful force of, it is a force of man-made nature that I can now accept and receive and
Be
be
okay
part
with.
of the flow. That's a part of
Yeah.
the ecosystem flow. And I know that it's just so beautiful. It's so I hope you can hear it in my voice. I'm like so stoked.
She
It's
is so stoked.
like and like the Nadine has been huge in helping, like
Oh.
having Nadine as a client. And I swear we did not get on this call to talk about this. I just need to talk about it because having Nadine as a client, we've worked together for like years now.
Yeah.
And knowing what she does inside and out, and be with her through her journey, and then being coached by her and being in the same program that we were getting coached by Kat, and now being coached by Nadine,
Aw.
like it is
Yeah.
just so, it is such a shift. I am so my inner archetype, that is the like the one, that the warrior that is
Mm-hmm.
is the grandma. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this is beautiful, like witchy grandma, and like
Yeah,
I
for
am
you,
her
it
now.
feels like a grandma for you. It feels different for
Yeah.
other people,
Yeah, for
but
me,
that's
this
how
is
it
my
feels.
unique
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. From other work that we've done together. And
Mm-hmm.
this, I am like living from my inner grandma now. And it is
Oh, cute.
so delicious and so wonderful. And I just feel
And
like I
it's
get to
making you want
tend
to
the
receive
world.
money and tend to the
Yes.
world. Yeah.
Yes, I know the money I receive is being put forward in tending, and not in some savior way, like, give me money so that I can save people. It's like, no, we are in this positive feedback loop
Yeah.
where we are now exchanging life force energy in ways that help us keep circulating that life force energy instead of just accumulating and hoarding it and feeling like shit or draining it and being actually shit out of luck. We're
Mm-hmm.
now circulating it. And that's the same thing. You take that circulating and it's the same thing as riding the waves, you know? It's the same process. My mind couldn't go crazy places in explaining that, but I'll stop and pause here because I've said a lot.
I appreciate everything that you said, and I know that our audience does too. I do want to ask you, like, just as the closing note,
Yeah.
about like if somebody is an entrepreneur right now and they are shit out of luck
Yeah.
because of their marketing, what is like one thing that they could do now to help feel like they're doing something about their financial situation and bringing in clients that can, help with this?
It froze. What is one thing they
Oh,
can
what is
do
one
to
thing
what?
that, from a marketing perspective, if you are a spiritual entrepreneur and you are shit out of luck because of your marketing, right? Because, you maybe are frozen or you can't express yourself properly in marketing or whatever it is, and you're not making the money that you need to make right now, and things are getting dire. What is like one marketing advice or recommendation that you would give to people that can help them, create some movement and vibrancy in their business so that they can bring in some money?
Wow, that's a big question.
All right, I know we're like a minute and 11, 11, an hour and 11 minutes in, and I'm asking the big
Okay.
question, but yeah.
Stay tuned for our next episode.
Oh my god. No, I like keep it, as simple as
Okay.
possible.
Let me simmer for a second because first of all, being in that dire place is
Yeah,
really,
it's
really
hard.
challenging.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing I would recommend is fact checking. My friend Naomi calls it reality checking.
Hmm.
Like, look at your actual money. Look
Hmm.
at your actual resources.
That's such a
Look
good
at what
idea,
is the
actually.
worst
Yeah.
possible thing that might happen.
Hmm. Are
And
you in actual scarcity, or do
right,
you think that you're in scarcity? Because that really,
right.
really sets the tone in your nervous system. So whether you really are or it's perceived scarcity, it doesn't actually matter to your nervous system. That's the truth that you're operating in. You're operating from survival. But if you do what Natalie says and actually check your numbers, and you're actually okay for the next month or two, but it's just that your business isn't doing like you want it to, that's a completely different story, right? That
Yeah.
is one of the symptoms, I would say, of money trauma. However, if you really look at your money and things are not great, things are scary, then from a nervous system perspective, what do you do?
Well, I don't know. This isn't like what there's no one size fits all. So I'm just
Yeah,
gonna put out
yeah,
my thinking of like what I might do.
yeah.
Um, so I would do that reality check first,
Mm-hmm.
and then see. I've been there because,
I've been
like,
there too. Yeah,
yeah, I've been there, and I've been there where it's both the reality check is oh shit, yeah, I'm actually broke, or it's like oh wait, I'm good. Like
I've
I've been
been in
there,
both too. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, it's the dire part that's really getting me because it's like that dire part is like that is it's so urgent that it's hard to take any kind of action from
Yeah.
within that space.
Yeah.
Sometimes like that's where it can be a negative feedback loop where it's just like the direness makes it hard to take action, so then you don't take action, so then it becomes more dire, and then
Yeah.
da, 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 and then that can lead to, and especially if someone has a condition that or has a neurodivergent brain or body where they can more easily end up in burnout. Like I think that sense of direness is really, really challenging to deal with sometimes. I mean, it's taken me months to recover from a sense of direness, whether it was real or not. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think just naming how intense that can be, and maybe
Yeah.
shifting expectations away from having to have a silver bullet fix it all right now, and maybe noticing what is a tiny step towards addressing this dire situation. Because if you're at a dire situation where it's really like, then there's probably stuff going on that needs to be addressed that hasn't been addressed.
Yeah.
And it's time to look for resources beyond what you've considered. Or,
Mhm.
I would like, if I was in a dire situation, I might look at like, okay, how can I find food, and look for food pantries.
Yeah.
Okay, how can I make sure I'm going to be sheltered and secure a way that I can either stay with someone or go to a shelter, or how can I be safe and secure? And this is where it just pisses me off that our system does not take care of people,
Yeah.
because these are things that people should not ever have to be facing. And
Mhm.
systemically, our system is set up to um not to tend to people's needs in this way. So that's like, I get really mad about, like, oh
Mhm.
my god, if you're in a dire situation, it breaks my heart. So I would say, even just if it's that dire, taking the weight off of the business to resolve it for you, because there's other things
Yeah.
going on, and that path might
Yeah.
be exactly what's going to lead you to what's actually aligned and sustainable. It might look completely different than you ever imagined.
You might be surprised in a positive way,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
operating in business from a place of a fight or flight nervous system is, unfortunately, even though it sounds like if I push harder, if you're already stressed out because of your situation, your real life situation, it might be even more triggering if you expect an unpredictable business to kind of save you. So I agree with you. Going towards things that are more predictable, like getting actual help and getting ourselves. I don't think that we can get ourselves into this like perfect situation where we're not in survival anymore, but like just getting to a baseline of
Moving
safety
towards
towards,
survival,
yeah.
moving towards safety. That's a huge success.
Hmm.
Even being willing to is a huge success.
Yeah.
That could be a rock bottom moment. Been there,
Yeah.
done that. Sucks,
And there's
but
like
it
this
can
layer
get
of,
better.
it can get better, and there's a layer of shame to it. Just know that
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with
yeah.
that. Just businesses do that sometimes. Businesses go
Hmm.
dry. And
Oh
when
yeah.
things are really good, just to be very careful, and not saying that, scarcity versus abundance. It's just the natural ebb and flow of money. Money ebbs and flows. It's just what it does. So when there is a flow, I would really suggest that you put money aside. There are businesses where, I work with people, for example, me, I know that January, February, and March are dry for me. So let's say I have annual expenses. I would start, I create a bucket for them, but I save for them over the period of 9 months as opposed to 12 months. I just know that there's probably going to be very little income coming in. And that also sometimes during our business, there's going to be these dry spells, and to emotionally prepare for them, knowing that you're not going crazy. It's just the way that your business operates. Some businesses don't operate very well in summer, for example, right? So just knowing that it has nothing to do with your worth, and
Yeah.
maybe it has nothing to do with your marketing strategy, and all you need to do is be a good, steward to your life and prepare for it,
Right. It's
right?
like
Not to shame
winter.
you, but
Yeah.
exactly like winter. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. We plants, animals, soil. We need winter. Many things need winter
Life
in
is
order to come back.
cyclical.
Hmm.
Life is cyclical. When
Yeah. And
we
go
fail to
ahead.
just go, 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 more, 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 we feel like failures. That's when we have this
Yeah.
misconception that we are unworthy, when we're not just like piling up abundance over abundance. And that's sometimes when we just spiral into like negative self talk and starting to hire people to save us.
Right. You know, this speaks to part of my honey mealing journey.
Uh huh.
Money healing journey.
You're
Honey
honey
mealing.
mealing.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want a money heal?
Um,
I mean, honey meal?
I would like a meal of honey. So part of it was my dire fear, even though I am ridiculously resourced. Like, there's very low chance, because I have a network, because I have privilege, because I have so
You have a
much.
network.
Yes, I have very little chance of ever actually being in such dire straits that I'm really totally like this. I am so resourced at this point in my life, both from unearned privilege and also from the actions and choices I've made and the
Mhm.
directions I've gone. But that still, it it helps. But I also, in my money healing journey,
Honey me.
ended up helping address that that feel of the direness, the perceived threat of
Mhm.
earning money being bad and making me miserable. I got a job. I got a
Mhm.
job that pays me 1/10 per hour of what I charge to work with people one to one.
Yeah.
But it's a job that is 2 days a week. It's in my capacity, and it has been one of the greatest sources of healing and support on this
Mm.
journey. Not great, but like it's been a thing that I needed to do for my nervous system,
Yeah.
to see that actually I can be okay making money and
Yeah,
doing
that's that warrior
getting
muscle.
paid.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that resourcefulness,
Yeah. And
knowing
I
that
got a job that I love. I work at a
you do love it.
spa, and
Yeah.
it's like it feeds me in a way that my coaching work doesn't.
Mhm.
And it allows me to show up in the same way that I show up for coaching, but I'm having very surface interactions with people, but I get to show up and offer my regulated nervous system and my presence and my witnessing and my care and my tending to this moment where I'm checking someone in and taking them to their beautiful spa room. And it's
Mm.
so I love it. I have to scrub toilets there. But you know what? I am tending the toilets and I fucking love them. Like, I just get to love this place that helps people
Do you wear
come.
gloves? I
Of
need to know that.
course.
Okay, good. All
Of
right. You can
course.
continue.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, yes. That I would not be
I'm
loving it
such
without
a
gloves.
Virgo.
Let's be clear.
I am such a Virgo. That's the first thing. Like, does she wear gloves? I need to know this now on the
Oh
podcast. I
yeah.
don't care now.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. No, but like it's also ultimately totally aligned with my overall like the way that I'm oriented to wanting
Mhm.
to support people to be well and
Yeah.
feel
Oh
alive.
my
And this is
God, I'm so
I'm
glad you
supporting
mentioned
them.
this.
Yeah, I'm supporting
Yeah.
them to have a space out, 50 minutes out of their everyday life to just be with their bodies, each other, the sun, the flowers, the koi fish, the water, the sauna, the heat, the fire. It's like to just unplug and just be present in the
And you
moment in their
facilitate
body.
that.
Yes. And
Mhm.
there's no, and this speaks to outcome too. I don't know what their outcome's gonna be. I don't know if they're gonna walk out feeling like they had an epiphany or an aha moment or like solved all their problems. But I do know that their outcome is that like what it is I've made we have a clear agreement. They are getting this room that we have set up in this way, and this is what we provide: the towels, the tea, the water, the hot tub, the sauna, the shower, the soap, shampoo, conditioner, and we provide the time holding for them too, so they don't even have to track time.
Mhm.
And they get to go in there and they just get to just do
Be.
whatever they want to do with that and emerge when their time is up. And that is our clear agreement. And it's up to them what they do and how much they're bringing, what they're expecting. I don't know what their outcome's going to be, but they come out melted and different. And everyone comes out just with this like radiance and they're like, more alive, more relaxed, and it's great. It's great. And that's I think speaks to outcome too. Is like it's not always about what's the outcome, but what are the agreements? What
Mhm.
agreements are we making, and
You
what are
like
the
agreements. I like that
expectations
word.
within
We
that
need
agreement?
agreements for structure.
Hmm. And expectations, like reasonable expectations, and a target. Like they're coming in wanting to get relaxed,
Mhm.
but I don't know what that's going to look like. But they're probably going to get some
I don't
degree
know
of
how
relaxed.
stressed they were coming in. Like, if they're
Yeah,
stressed 10
people
out of
come in so stressed,
right? You can't, like,
right?
guarantee them coming out like mush. They might
Yeah,
be, like, coming in at 10 out of 10 of stress, leaving at 7 out of 10 of stress. Oof.
yeah.
That's big.
Right? It hit, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a job It's 2 days a week. It pays me way less than I make in my business,
But it
but it
makes you
feeds me.
very happy.
I Makes me very happy. I get to be in a beautiful place. I get
It's
to
in
be with
alignment with your
people.
purpose.
It's alignment. Yeah, and I like my coworkers. I love the
I love my
structure of
coworkers'
how put
hearts.
together Arby. I love how the structure of how they've put together the protocols and how we actually work and how we work
Mhm.
as a team and what we're each individually doing and the ethos and just the vibe. It's like it feeds me in a way that actually helps me do better in my work with one to one with people. And I
There
think
you
I'm
go.
probably
That's
always going to have,
amazing.
whether it's that job or some sort of volunteering
Mhm.
opportunity or something, I need something like that in my
Yeah.
life. And this is so nourishing.
I
And
need
this has been
community in real life community.
right. Real
Yeah.
life community and service and connection. And that's for me. I don't know what other people need, but I think that's something I wanted to speak to is like, what are the different things that may if I go out there, if someone was like, you have a $20 an hour job at a spa checking people in, and you have a master's degree and all these skills in a business, and you charge people how much to work with it, and you're doing this job, it's like so beneath. It's not.
Mhm. It's
Like,
not.
break that paradigm. It is nourishing and it is
Mhm.
awesome. And it is part of this different way that I want to live my life. And that is feeding and nourishing me in this positive feedback loop. And so
Yeah.
let's break these, expectations of how it has to look or what's right or wrong. And if someone is in that dire straits place, whether it's real or perceived, getting a job might actually be the best thing that happens to you. Having to do the thing that you really think that you don't want to do and is going to be the worst thing ever, it might actually turn out to bring something that you never expected.
Mm.
And so that
Don't
is
listen
like
to the coaching industry. It's okay. It's okay to get a job when things are not working. It might actually get the creative juices flowing,
right,
right?
right, and like doing it in a way that it's like doing it because that's a step in committing to and tending to what is your own calling and well-being and what it is that is so much more wants to be so much more alive in you, even if
Mhm.
this next step doesn't appear to be the pinnacle expression of it,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
there
But
is
it's
no
still
ultimate
it's
pinnacle
a
done perfection.
building. It's like the building blocks of the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, money, marketing, life
And
misconceptions,
magic.
I think, and magic. I mean, I think we covered it all. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Natalie, for jumping on this little chit chat with me. I mean, I hope everybody loved our chat and got lots of value from it. Everybody, just contact Natalie if you've got like marketing situations and you want to become more like you want your soul aligned business to be translated in your marketing as well. Natalie is your girl. And of course, you know where to find me. I am very happy to invite you all into CFA if that feels aligned for you, or work with me one on one. I am currently opening up a few spots. So, yeah, here we are. And wishing you all prosperity, power, peace, and lots and lots and lots of abundance. So, with that, I love you all and leave you, and I will see you next week. Thank you, everyone who tuned into Money Misconceptions March, and let's see what's on board for next month. I don't know what the theme is for next month.
We'll find
Natalie and I
out.
will talk about it.
Yeah.
And you will find out next week. Love you all. Bye for now.
Thanks, Nadine.
Bye.
Thanks, listeners.